And last week we started chapter 8 of our reference book, right? And again, chapter 8 is about exponential functions and logarithmic functions. But we're not covering logarithmic functions on our curriculum, only exponential functions. I think on Wednesday we will start talking about exponential functions, maybe a little bit tomorrow, but more on Wednesday. And then you're going to use the app. You will find the app very useful to work with with exponential functions. But now, let's review the topics you covered last week, okay? This is a quick review. And we worked on this example. We are talking about functions, operations with functions, and also the regular operations, addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and the new one, the composition, okay? This is a very simple one. It's a regular product. If we have f of x equals, and f of x equals x minus 7, h of x equals to what? H of x equals to x cubed, okay? We can multiply, we can find the evaluation, the answer for this by multiplying f of x times h of x, but we need to plug in something here. Something is missing. What is the number missing here? Is the value of x. See? What is the number we have to plug in on x to find the solution? I will need some help, and I'm gonna ask to a couple of students, I'm gonna invite them to help me out, to send me a message with your answer, and just don't think too much. It's very easy, very straightforward. Look at the first line and you're gonna find the number, okay? So tell me, what do you think is the right answer? Thank you, you will. Perfect, nice, very good. Thank you, Maggie. Yes, it's gonna be 3, x equals 3. That's the right answer. You have to plug in x equals 3. This is the input. The input is x equals 3. So you input x equals 3 to find the output. At the end you're gonna have the output. For each function, the output are here. You plug in x equals 3 for function f, and the output is 3 minus 7, y equals 4. This is the output, okay? And for h, function h, 2 times x cubed, so x equals 3, 2 times 3 cubed, and the output is going to be 2 times 27, or 54. Okay? That's the right answer. This is the input. X equals 3. Thank you, Ewell. Thank you, Darwin. And thank you, Kalia. Now, well, when we have the equation of the function, it's kind of easy to calculate, right? Because you have the equation here, and then you just plug in the input. Plug in the input equals 3, and we find the output -4, in this case here. We input x equals 3, we find the output is 54. What about if we don't have the equation of the function? How can we find the output? That's what we will see today. We don't have the equation of the function, we need to find the output. And we will find by looking at the graph. We will have, instead of the equation, we will have a graph, an xy plane, and we will find the answer, the output, by looking into the graph. Okay? Check this out. A few examples. For the functions f and g pictured, find the function values if possible. And we have the graph. Look, let me zoom in a little bit. The pink line, the pink graph is the function G or F for the pink. And the blue graph is the function F or G. What do you think? You just read here, right? Just need to read here, and you will find out. The pink is the function G, and the blue is the function F, right? Now find the first example, A, find G of x equals 2. How can you find out G of x equals 2? X equals 2 is the input. Okay, so x equals 2 is the input. The step-by-step is draw a vertical line with the input. So find x equals 2, the first thing. X equals 2 is right here. I will draw a vertical line on x equals 2. And this is the input. Nice? Now I need to find the output. The output is going to be for function G, the intersection between input and G. And this is the intersection. Now I'm going to draw a horizontal line, which is the output. And the output is y equals, and check here, y equals -1. This is the output. Oops, let me just fix this. Yeah, this is the output. So the answer is going to be the output, y equals -1. The answer is the output. Make sense? Does it make sense? Do you have questions? Let me work on another example. Maybe you're going to understand on the other example, because now we have just one function to evaluate, G. Now let's check another example that you have two functions. We have two functions to evaluate, okay? So erase this, and let's try letter B. Letter B, we need to evaluate f minus g of -3. So the input is -3. X equals -3, okay? And we're going to evaluate f of -3 minus g of -3. Okay? Let's start drawing the input. X equals -3. X equals -3 is right here. So draw a vertical line on x equals -3. This is the input. X equals -3. Nice? Now let's find the output. The output for f. F is the blue. Is the intersection between the vertical line of the input and the blue line of the f of x. Okay? This is the output for f. Is y equals to -2. Okay? This is for f. Now the output for g is the intersection between the vertical line and g. This is the intersection. And the output is y equals 3, which is g. Okay? So let's plug in f of -3 is the output of f equals -3 is -2. And the output of g equals -3 is 3. That's -2 minus 3 equals -5. Make sense? Does it make a little bit of sense? I know it's as usual with something new. We need to practice. We need to understand what you're doing. And if you are a bit confused yet, don't worry. We just need to follow the same step by step, and we're going to be able to find the right answers. We're going to practice on the quiz. Okay, maybe we can use a method that we learned before. Remember system of linear equations a little bit? There were two methods. One is substitution method, another one is addition method. So I think I will show you how I solve this using addition method, okay? But you can guess also, you can guess and try and check which number fits better. But I'm going to show how to use addition method. I will add the vertical equations that we have. A plus C equals 11, and B plus D this is 4. Okay, I'm gonna add the vertical lines, and I will also add the horizontal lines. I will add the horizontal lines as well. So A plus B equals 10, and C minus D equals 3. Okay? And what I will do is apply the addition method. You can add or subtract both equations, and you're going to find an equality. If we subtract A minus A 0, C minus C 0, B minus B 0, D minus negative D minus negative D is 2D. And 15 minus 13 equals 2. 2D equals 2. That means D equals 1. So 1 is going to be the right answer. Again, you can find by calculating, but you can also find by trying, by guessing and trying to find the other numbers. If D equals 1, it's going to be easy to find the other numbers. Check this out. D equals 1, something minus 1 equals 3, means 4 minus 1 equals 3. And then we have here on the vertical, something plus 4 equals 11. This something needs to be 7. 7 plus 4 equals 11. And now we have a horizontal, 7 plus something equals 10. 7 plus 3 equals 10. We have all the numbers. D equals 1. Makina got the right answer. On our quiz today, you have to approximate each function value from the graph. So we're going to work with this graph here. All the inputs and outputs we need to find in the graph. Okay? So for letter A, first we have to find f of negative 4. That means the inputs. What's the input here? Input is x equals negative 4. This is the input, right? So let's go to the graph, and we need to find f of negative 4. Negative 4 is the input. Remember, we need to draw a vertical line on the inputs. X equals negative 4, right here. Draw a vertical line. This is the input. X equals negative 4. To find the output, we need to find the intersection between this vertical line and the function f. Function f is the blue one, right? So that's the horizontal line of the output. And the output is y equals -2. So the answer is output -2. This is the output. Okay? Okay, Kalia. Let me show again. The answer here is -2. I'm going to show again. Okay, erase this and erase the output. Erase everything, only the input. The input is this line, the vertical line that you will draw where x equals -4. Okay, this is the input. To find the output, and we are working here with the function f, right? Function f, we need to find the output for f. So we need to find the intersection between the inputs and the graph of the function f, the blue graph. And this is going to be the intersection, right? This is the intersection point. You draw a horizontal line on the intersection point. And this is the output. Output y equals -2. -2 is the output. Let me show, and I have D, letter D. For letter D, the input is x equals 3. Okay, so let's move to the graph and find the input like x equals 3 for G. We are finding G. So let's here input G of 3. Let's find G of 3. Erase everything on the graph. We're going to start over with the new input. The new input is x equals 3. Find on the x-axis the number 3. Then you're going to draw a vertical line on the number 3 of the x-axis. And this is the input for x equals 3, right? X equals 3. And we want to find G. And the output is going to be the intersection between vertical line, x equals 3, and G, the graph G. This is the intersection, see? This point. Draw a horizontal line, and this is the output. Check y. Y equals -3. So the output -3. All right. So letter D, right? Letter D. The answer is -3. The output y equals -3. This is the right answer. Now look at letter E. It's the same thing, the same step by step, but the problem is, not a problem. Now on letter E, we have an addition. We have to do 2 evaluations. We have to find f of 2, and then we have to find g of 2, and we add them together. Okay? We need to find 2 outputs for f and for g. Let's go to the graph, and I'm erasing everything. Okay, I'm going to start over. Let me erase everything. You can keep just f and g. Let me erase everything, because now the input, we We have seen on the question, what is the input? What is the input? X equals 2. So the input for both, x equals 2. X equals 2. Okay? Find x equals 2 right here. Draw the vertical line of the input. Input x equals 2. And you will find the output for F. You will find the output for G. Output for F is I'm just changing the color. Output for F is the intersection of the blue graph with the vertical input. This is the output. Y equals what? Y equals 2. And the output for G is this intersection right here. Draw a horizontal line. And this is the output. Y equals to what? Y equals -2. Okay? So, -2, output for G, and 2 is the output for F. Make sense? Now go back to the question, because we have F of 2, which is F of 2 is 2. F and G of 2 is -2. 2 minus 2, 0 is the right answer. It's a bit confusing. What do you think? Letter P is a composition. Okay? It's slightly different from the other ones. So this is equals, or the same thing as G of F of -4. -4. What is F of -4? The first thing you have to do is find F of -4. Okay? But we calculated F of -4 before. That's something we already know. F of -4, look at letter A. F of -4 is -2. So plug in right here, -2. So this is equals G of -2. And we also know what is G of -2. We calculated before. G of -2 is 2. You don't need to find again. G of -2 is 2, so the answer is 2. The right answer here for letter P is 2. We don't need to calculate again because we already have the answers. We have what we need from question A and question C.